student will be able to first describe inverse functions, second, find the inverse of a function, and third, illustrate and analyze the graph of the function and its inverse. So before we start, let us have a degree first of composite functions. So let's say we have f of x is equal to 3x minus 2, and g of x is equal to x over 3 plus 2/3. Now, evaluate f of g of x and g of f of x. So let us have first number 1. So to find f of g of x, we have to find, we are going to write this equal f and then g of x. G of x, so ito yun, diba? G of x natin ito. So we have this one. And then, find f of x by plugging x plus 3, x over 3 plus 2/3 into x. So we have this. Okay? So yung 3x minus 2, we plug g of x into x. And then if we multiply this one, so 3x, 3 times x is 3x divided by 3, that's x, right? And then 3 times 2 is 6 divided by 3, that is 2. So we have x plus 2 minus 2. And 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. That's why f of g of x is equal to x. Okay? Now, let us have number 2. So for number 2, we're going to find g of f of x. And f of x is equal to, yes, that's 3x minus 2. And then we plug 3x minus 2 into g of x. And then we have, so yung ating numerator dito, papalitan natin ng 3x minus 2. Okay? Then, since it has a common denominator, so we can combine the numerators, right? And negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So, natira na lang sa atin is 3x over 3. And then 3 can be divided by 3. So, ang may iwan na lang sa atin ay x. Therefore, g of f of x is equal to x. Now, as you can see, we can say that f of g of x is equal to g of f of x because both of them is equal to x, which means that these are very special functions. Now, let's see just what makes them so special. Okay, let us try to find f of negative 1. So here, we have 3, and then we plugged in negative 1 into x. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, minus 2 is negative 5. Now, let us find g of negative 5. So we plug in negative 5 into x here. So we have negative 5 over 3 plus 3. Again, same ang kanyang denominator. So we can actually add the numerator. So negative 5 plus 2, that is negative 3. Divided by 3, we have negative 1. Okay. How about, let us have this case. Let us have g of 2. Now we plug this 2 into x. So we have 2/3 plus 2/3. And 2 plus 2, we have 4 over 3. So g of 2 is 4/3. Now let us find f of 4/3. So we plug in 4/3 into x. So we got this. And then 3 times 4 divided by 3 is equal to 4. And 4 minus 2 is equal to 2. Now, in the first case, we plugged x is equal to negative 1 into f of x. And then we got a value of negative 5. And then we turn around and plug negative 5 into g of x and got a value of negative 1, which is the same as the number which we started off with, right? Now, let us take a look with the second case. So we did something similar as the first one. We plugged x is equal to 2 into g of x, right? And we got a value of 4/3. And then again, we turn around and plug this into f of x. And we got 2, which is again the number that we started with. So, what is really happening here? No? So, kung makikita nyo, di ba? These two functions is trying to undo, di ba? Kung ano yung ginagawa ng isa, kung ano ginawa ni F, ina-undo ng G. Kung ano ginawa ni G, inando lang siya ni F. Okay? And this pair of functions exhibit a behavior which is called inverse function. So let us now define inverse function. So given two one-to-one functions, f of x and g of x, if f of g of x is equal to x and g of f of x is equal to x, then we say that f of x and g of x are inverses of each other. Alright? Now, more specifically, we say that g of x is the inverse of f of x and denoted by this symbol. So we're babasahin natin ito as g of x is equal to the inverse of f of x. Likewise, we could also say that f of x is the inverse of g of x and denoted by f of x is equal to the inverse of g of x. Now, we have to be careful with the notation for inverses. The negative 1 here and here, it's not an exponent despite the fact that it does look like 1, right? So, hindi natin ito binabasa as raised to negative 1. Okay? Rather, we can read it as the inverse of. Okay? So, with this one, we have the inverse of f of x, the inverse of g of x. And when dealing with inverse function, we have to remember that the inverse of x is not equal to 1 over f of x. Hindi natin ina-apply dito ang law of exponent. Okay. Now, another thing that we need to take note is that not all functions have inverse function. It must be a one-to-one function. So remember that a function is said to be one-to-one if no two values of x produce the same y. So let us have this illustration. If we have this, okay, if we're trying to find the inverse of this set of ordered pairs, we are just going to interchange x and y. So for this one, we have negative 5, 1. For this one, we have 2, 4. Then we have here negative 5, 6. And we have here 4, negative 2. As you can see, the inverse of the first set of ordered pairs is not a function since nagdalawa yung x natin dito. Diba? So, from the first set of ordered pairs here, x value 1 and 6 produce the same value of y, which is negative 5. Thus, this function is not one-to-one function. Diba? And if the function is not one-to-one function, then it has no inverse. Okay, so you have to be careful first, um, we're going to replace f of x by y. So this is done to make the rest of the process easier. So mas madali kasi siyang isosolve kapag pinalitan natin yung f of x ng y. Diba? And then for the next step, we interchange x and y. So we're going to replace every x with a y, and we're going to replace every y with an x. And then solve the equation from step 2 for y. So we're going to solve for y. So this one is a bit messy. So you have to be careful with solving with y. Okay. Now, fourth, after solving for y, we replace this by the inverse of x. Okay. Now, if the inverse is a function, nakalagay dito kapag ang inverse ay function. Pero kung hindi, ilalagay dito. Okay. Now, for the fifth one, we're going to verify our answer by checking that f of the inverse of f of x is equal to x, and the inverse of f of x is equal to x are both true. So, actually, pwedeng isa na lang yung gagawin natin to check. So, kailangan mag-equal siya sa x. Diba? So, let us have an example. So, given f of x is equal to 3x minus 2, find the inverse of x. As you can see, this function, binigay na natin siya sa review kanina. But let us see kung talagang lalabas yung nakita natin na inverse niya. Diba? So, first step, we have to replace f of x by y. Diba? Pinalda natin ang y dito. Next, interchange x and y. So, yung y dito, gagawin natin x, and then yung x, ginawa natin y. And then next is to solve for y. Okay? So, to solve for y, of course, using addition property of equality, this will become x plus 2 is equal to 3y. Okay? And using multiplication property of equality, we multiply both sides by 1/3, right? And then we will have here x times 1 is x over 3, and then 2 times 1 is 2, so that is 2 over 3. And here, 3 times 1/3 is 1, so 1, y na lang. So kapag wala nang kasama yung y natin dito, no, we can rewrite this. We can replace y by the inverse of f of x, and then we have this. Okay. Now, for the final step, we have to check. Okay, so we can use this f of the inverse of f of x. So now the inverse of f of x, yung nakuha natin, ilalagay natin dito. Diba? And then we plug in this value into f of x. So that will become 3 times x over 3 plus 1/3. Actually, we did that. Diba? Kanina, nagawa na natin itong part na to. So this will give us x plus 2, right? So we have x plus 2 minus 2, and we have here x. Okay. Now, let us have another example. Given g of x is equal to square root of x minus 2, find the inverse of g of x. Okay. Now, let us replace g of x by y. So we have this, and then interchange y and x. So yung y dito magiging x, and then yung x dito y. Now, so siya ay radical, di ba? So paano ba natin tinatanggal yung radical? So pinukuhan natin, nire-raise natin into 2, di ba? So para matanggal yung radical sign natin dito, kasi kailangan natin makuha yung value ng y, di ba? So kapag nire-raise natin ito dito, magiging x squared, at dito sa kabila matatanggal yung radical, diba? And then addition property of equality again. So x squared will be added by 3 is equal to y. Okay, since na-solve na natin yung y, we can replace it by the inverse of g of x, and that is equal to x squared plus 3. x. And again, the fifth and final step, we have to check. Okay? Now, you can use the reverse, no? Pwedeng ito o kaya yung isa. Okay? Bahala kayo kung anong gagamitin nyo, kung alin yung mas madali para sa inyo. Basta kailangan mag-result siya sa x, di ba? So, now, here, we have to find the inverse of g of x. So, g of x, we have the square root of x minus 3, right? And then, we plugged in this value into the inverse of g of x. So, yung x dito, papalitan natin ito. So, that we have this one. So, dito, syempre, tatanggalin lang natin, di ba? So, square root of x minus 3 squared is the same as x minus 3. And then plus 3, that will give us x. Alright, now, for the third example, we have given h of x is equal to x plus 4 over 2x minus 5. Now, find the inverse of h of x. So again, we replace h of x by y and then interchange x and y. So yung y dito magiging x, then yung dalawang x dito mapapalitan ng y. And then, using multiplication property of equality, we multiply both sides by 2y minus 5 para matanggal yung denominator natin dito. So this will be cancelled, right? Ang may iwan sa right side ay y plus 4. Dito naman, we multiply x and 2y. That will give us 2xy. And then x times negative 5, that is negative 5x. Okay. And then, so, kailangan, we're solving for y, diba? So, ipunin natin yung y sa kabilang side. Bahala kayo kung saan side yung gagamitin. Ilalagay, I mean. So, here, we're going to use addition property of equality again. So, that we have this. Okay? So, nag-minus tayo ng y. So, sa isa, nag-plus tayo ng 5x. And then, here, we have a common factor. Diba? So, common factor here is y. So, we extract the common factor y and then divide both terms by y. So, 2xy divided by y is 2x, diba? And then y divided by y is 1. Kaya ito yung nakuha natin. Okay? So, yan. Parang nagkakaroon na ng ano, diba? So, kita nyo na kung anong kasunod na step, diba? So, anong kasunod na step para makuha yung y. So, of course, we're going to divide both sides by 2x minus 1 or multiply both sides by 2x minus 1 using multiplication property of equality. So, pero mas mahaba kasi pag multiply pa. No? So, pwede naman ito. So, 2x minus 1 and then this one, 2x minus 1. So, this will be cancelled, diba? So, we got y is equal to 5x plus 4 over 2x minus 1. And then, since we already solved for y, we replace this by the inverse of h of x. Okay. Now, tignan natin. Checking. No? So, i-check natin. So, we can use this one. So, h of the inverse of h of x. So, the inverse of h of x is 5x. 5x plus 4 over 2x minus 1. And then we plug in this value into h of x. So, yung x doon at saka x sa baba, papalitan natin ito. So, we have this. Okay? Now, this is a complex fraction, right? So, tingnan natin ito sa numerator. So, sa numerator, we can use the LCD, which is 2x minus 1, right? And then we copy the numerator and then multiply 4 and 2x and then 4 times negative 1, right? Dito naman sa baba, we multiply 2 sa 5x and then sa 4. So, we have this. Isa-isahin natin. Tinopyan natin yung 5x plus 4 dito, diba? Then, 4 times 2x, that is 8x. 4 times negative 1, that is negative 4. Okay? Dito sa baba, 2 times 5x is 10x. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay. Now, next. Ito yung kanina ha. So, dito, pwede na natin pagplasin si 5x at saka si 8x. Diba? So, 5x plus 8x is 13x. And then 4 minus 4 is 0. So, 13x na lang over 2x minus 1 sa taas. Now, sa baba, again, we have to get the LCD. So, LCD is 2x minus 1. Then, we copy the numerator. Then, multiply negative 5 times 2x. That's negative 10x. Negative 5 times negative 1. That's positive 5. And then, combine like terms. So, this one, 10x minus 10x is 0. 8 plus 5 is 13. So, we have this one. Okay. Now, paano natin mag-simplify? Okay, correct. We multiply the numerator by the inverse of the denominator, or I mean the reciprocal of the denominator. Okay, so we copy the numerator here, and then we multiply by the reciprocal. So here, we can cancel 13 and 2. Diba? Madali ang calculation. Ayan. So, ang naiwan na lang ay x. Okay, so sana nakuha nyo yung process natin, no? And before we proceed with the exercises, now let us take a look with another interesting relationship between the inverse functions. No? So we're going to graph the function and its inverse, and tignan natin kung ano yung magiging itsura ng graph nila. Okay, here, gagamitin natin ay GeoGebra. So, sinabihan ko kayo before, you have to install GeoGebra, no? Kasi mas magandang gamitin ang GeoGebra. You can actually use the application offline. So, lilipat lang ako sa GeoGebra. Okay? So, tignan natin. Wait lang. Okay. So, for the first function, let us have this one. Okay. So, i-graph natin yung dalawa. So, but first, let us have a line which is y is equal to x. Okay. So, dito lang kayo mag-i-input sa baba. No? Equation. So, maglagay lang tayo ng reference line dito. So, let us change the object properties into dotted line. At hindi pwede kasi equal siya. So, we can change the color instead. So, we change it to red. Okay. Now, let us, okay. So, let us graph the first function. We have f of x is equal to 3x minus 2. You can use f of x or simply y. Pwedeng y na yung gamitin natin. Wait lang, hindi ko magana yung keyboard ko. Okay, sorry. I have a problem with my keyboard. Let me use the on-screen keyboard. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. On-screen keyboard kasi lobat na ata yung keyboard ko. I'm actually using an external keyboard. Okay, let us just wait for the keyboard now. So, okay. So, ang una natin ginawa again. So, in-graph natin yung y is equal to x, right? Sorry. Good siya. Okay. And then, we're going to graph the function which is y is equal to 3x minus 2. So, we have here y equals 3x minus 2. Then enter. Okay, ito na yung graph natin. Right? So, paldan natin. Gawin natin blue. Yan. Okay. Then, we're going to graph the other function. So, x over 3 plus 2 over 3. So, gagawin ulit natin y, no? So, y equals close it into parentheses, no, to separate the fractions. So plus 2 divided by 3. Then enter. Okay. So tingnan natin yung graph natin. Okay. So yung graph natin. So yung red, yung reference natin yan. The blue one is the first function, 3x minus 2. And then this one is the inverse. Okay. So tingnan mabuti ha. Let us have another one. Yung second function natin. Okay. Tingnan natin yung pangalawa natin. So, square root of x minus 3. So, again, lagay natin yung y equals, sorry ha, kasi yung aking screen dahil wala akong keyboard, y equals x. Yan. So, tingnan natin pag yung kulay ng reference natin. So, the first function is y equals square root natin, diba? So, yung square root pwede natin ilagay yung raised to fractional exponent, no? Para mas madali. So, ano ulit yun? X minus 3, diba? X minus 3. Then, we raise it into, wait lang. Okay. I-raise natin siya sa 1/2 kasi square root, diba? Ayan. So, that is the graph of the first function. Let us have the second one. X squared plus 3. So, we have, sorry, nalilito na ako. Alin yung pagdating ko dito. Okay, so we have here y equals x raised to 2 plus 3. Okay, palitan natin ang kulay. Let's make it color. So again, tignan yung graph natin. Okay. Baka magtataka kayo bakit putol to. And ganyan talaga yung ano. Kasi kapag ano siya, tumuloy siya dito, di ba yung ano, before. Kapag tumuloy dito yung graph natin, kagaya halimbawa, kagaya nito, di ba? So, naging parang parabola na nakahiga. Pag ganun yung nangyari yun, hindi na siya function. Kasi hindi na siya papasa sa vertical line text, di ba? So, and the square root of y is equal to square root of x minus 3 is a function. So, yeah. Now, let us have the third example. So, let us check first the given. Ang given natin yan. So, the first function is x plus 4 over 2x minus 5. So, we have here, we have here the reference line na. Wait lang. Nilipat siya ng isa. Y equals x. Then, yung first function natin, y equals. So, again, we have to enclose in parentheses, no? That's 4. And then, 2x minus 5. And then, and, okay, that's it. No, it should be divide, sorry. Dapat divide. Okay. So, palitan natin yung kulay niya. Ganda ng graph, diba? So, diba ang galing gamitin ng GeoGebra. Napaka niyang gamitin. User-friendly. Napakadali niyang gamitin. So, you can actually use this graph to add these application. Saka free siya. Wala siyang bayad. Bigla na ganun. Okay, so the next one is 5x plus 4 over 2x minus 1. So let's go back here. Then graph function. Y equals first one we have 5x plus 4, then divided by again we have to go through parentheses 2x minus 1. Okay, then the graph. Okay, now let's take a look with all the graphs ng functions natin. So, tignan natin. Let us try to compare each. Sana makikita lahat. Saan ba yun? Ayan. So, balikin natin para magkasya silang tatlo. Try to compare each graph. No? Try nyo i-compare yung mga graph natin. So, what have you observed with this function? No? Then this one. Parang na wait lang, na iba yung ito sa the interval here must be what have you observed with each graph? So, yung graph natin ito. With referencing na yun sa reference line natin. And then this one, ito yung nangyari, diba? Ito yung function natin. And then yung inverse niya, ito naman. So, ano yung napansin sa graph ng function at actually correct, no? Ang nasa isip mo ay reflection siya ng isa't isa. You are correct, no? Because the graph of the inverse is a reflection of the actual function about the line y is equal to x. And this will always be the case with the graph of a function and its inverse. So, yun lagi ang case natin. At madali nyo mag-check, no? Kung gagamit kayo ng graph, kung function ba talaga yung inverse. Kasi kailangan makapasa siya sa vertical line test. Diba? So, kasi hindi kayo makakapag-conclude inverse function ba siya. Kasi kailangan ang function nakapasa sa vertical line test. Okay? So, I think that will be all for